What did we do?
What did we...
We got together for a surprise movie, which it wasn't really too much of a surprise, except for Josh.
Right.
Because Adam and I...
So just a quick backstory, because this is a sealed copy of Dead Men Don't Die on Laserdisc.
Yeah.
This is not the Jim Jarmusch movie.
No, so that
I almost thought it was. Yeah, Dead Men Don't Die.
This is... Okay, here's the genesis of how I stumbled across this, and I vaguely remember this movie when it came out, but at work, every now and again, I have to update the box office digital displays with new movie posters. So when I go into Google, and I was looking Dead Don't Die, pictures of Elliott Gould with this zombie blue face making, this weird O face kept popping up within the Google image search. And so when I clicked on it, because it has the same, Dead Men Don't Die,
sure,
Dead Don't Die, maybe I probably just like switched those like a couple times in the same.
Well, no, trust me. I like every time I saw the event when you changed the name of the event, I was like, wait, are we doing one of the Dead Don't Die?
Right. So I will probably call Dead Don't Die, Dead Men Don't Die. I'm probably going to interchange those many times. So then my quest continued, and I said I have to find this movie, hopefully by this Friday, which we are recording right now. Now, I looked at Sean's inventory, and he said that he had it. He had it on Laserdisc, and then it had a little sub column that said that it's out in moratorium on DVD, which is true. It's not on YouTube. You can find a DVD, like a foreign DVD, but it wouldn't have got here in time.
Yeah,
and it was never released in the States on DVD. I don't think.
Right, because that kind of makes sense then, because they were all.
So this is yours?
Yeah, this is mine.
And it's sealed. And he brought his Laserdisc player. We're going to open this mother.
So you randomly found this.
Yes.
And then Sean just has it.
Happened to have it.
Awesome.
So I thought, in honor of the Jim Jarmusch movie, which I think is one of my most favorite movies of the year.
I love it.
Sean has not seen it, though, yet.
A lot of people don't like it. It's very divisive, but I think that, it's really awesome.
Yes.
I think I'll dig it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I like what I've seen in the trailers and everything, so I think when I see it, I'll dig it.
Do it.
All right. Let's open this.
Oh, yeah. We're going to do... Okay.
So now it's going to go from a $4.99 value to a $3.99 value.
That's right.
Cracking it open.
This plastic is so tight.
Oh my.
Hello.
Oh, and it's a punch-out version, too.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
No, you got the where they clip the barcode where they do the...
Look how careful you are. Look at that. Nice.
I can't replace this very easily, Josh,
Totally.
This is also how I anally open my vinyl records.
Okay, let's talk more about anally.
I was about to say, at least you're not using your anus.
Words. There it is,
Josh. Oh, no rock.
First Laserdisc you're ever going to watch.
Yeah. So, and that again, for the record, I have never actually watched a real Laserdisc. So I have one I got as a gift, as if Something Wicked This Way comes, but I don't have a Laserdisc player. I've never actually watched one, so I'm excited.
Cool. Let's do it.
All right. See you on the other side. Me. Question: how closely did Jim Jarmusch's remake adhere to?
Oh, it's beat for beat.
Beat for beat.
It was like the remake of Psycho.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gus
shot
Van
for shot.
Sant.
Shot for shot.
Gus Van Sant's Dead
beat.
Men Don't Die.
Yes.
Definitely.
Welcome back.
Hey.
Hi there.
To one of the greatest podcast, videocast, whatever you want to call it, that have the biggest beards on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
None finer.
Talking about movies that you can't find and you can't probably watch.
Right, totally. Listen to us talk about movies that you're probably never going to watch.
But you people love it.
But it's also I mean, trust us. Sometimes it's like we're taking the bullet for you guys.
Is this one of them?
Yeah, yeah.
This is a
spoiler.
9mm.
So the first part of the unwrapping, or I guess the breaking of the seal, because it's not completely unwrapped. You already explained the genesis of how this came about. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! That is commitment right there.
Wow. There you go.
Static.
Whoa.
Cling.
It's just sticking to the wall back there, the curtain. That's great.
Who wants to start with unpacking
Me.
Elliott Gould's
Joshua T. Ruth.
Wowza?
Screwball comedy, like that's basically what this film is. It is a wackadoo screwball, like slapstick comedy, kinda.
Like morons from outer space or something.
Yeah.
Boy,
You're just fascinated.
well, I don't know what age group this is for.
Oh yeah,
It's not adult.
It's rated PG-13.
Is it PG-13?
It is.
it does have some
PG-13.
blood in it.
They said bitch.
They did
And
say
hell.
bitch.
But why would it be PG-13?
Drugs.
The drugs thing?
Drugs,
Maybe?
yeah.
That wasn't a big thing back then.
Maybe.
The drugs were huge back then.
Well, I mean, yes, but
You are right.
I mean,
Learn
I'm
it by watching
thinking
you.
drugs were huge back then.
Not like today.
brought to you by Kleenex.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Product placement. Today's
There's a
support.
moment in this movie where a car crashes into a wall and it says "Just say no."
Right. I actually
they
felt
crash
that was
into.
one of the three jokes that actually worked in the movie, because as they're about to crash into that, everybody goes no, and then it cuts and it's got the wall
Right.
says no
Right.
that they're crashing into, which I felt was kind of funny. But
You know why?
I know.
It's just a great
You
picture.
know
yeah,
why
yeah,
that was
yeah.
funny, Josh?
What is that?
Because they didn't beat you over the head with that
It's
joke
true.
throughout the
It's true.
entirety of the running.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as to who the audience for this film is, I think like lame grandpas maybe, like that's kind of it. And I partially get to that because of the filmmaker here, the writer and director Malcolm Marmerstein.
That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. Yeah, in like looking at what that guy's done, he's been around for a while. This was like late stage for him. I guess his biggest kind of claim to fame, he wrote a large amount of Dark Shadows, like a lot, like 80 episodes.
Wow.
And he also he wrote Return to Witch Mountain and Pete's Dragon. So like this is a guy who in 1990 would have certainly been an older
What year
gentleman.
was this? 91?
90 on the noses, at least what IMDb said.
Okay.
So this is 1990, so he's probably an older guy,
He's known for writing.
Yeah, exactly. And this is only one of two films he directed. And I think that, if I'm going to try and place it.
Well, we got to be a completist. What was the other one that he directed?
Love Bites.
Yeah, Love Bites.
1993, so after
Right.
this movie.
Yeah, a few years after.
Starring in the lead role Adam Ant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, write this
Adam
down.
Ant.
Writing that one
Gotta
down.
add that one to the list. Adam Ant. Nice. But and that's me sleuthing and saying that this guy, I mean, I think it said Malcolm Marmerstein, Marmorstein. His birthday was like 1922 or something like that. I think, unless I was wrong. But so, I mean, he's like almost 70 years old at the time he writes this. So I'm thinking this is what was funny to him. Right. And so that's the only thing I can imagine as to who the target audience would be for this. Because I don't know. I didn't find it that funny, but I got the impression that he's like, oh, I'm doing this kind of like slapstick zombie comedy.
Sure.
And
For his great grandkids.
yeah, maybe like this is what he thought they would like. Maybe
It's like, I want to leave on a note of something that's lighthearted, but a little screwball-y.
Sure.
Like, what can I do?
Yeah,
And with his
absolutely.
background with the Dark Shadows stuff and everything.
Yeah, it's like partially I kind of like feel bad that Elliott Gould is in this movie at all. I mean, this is Elliott Gould. This isn't like some no-name B-list guy.
Right.
I mean, granted, it's not like Elliott Gould was at the top of his game in 1990. I mean, this was before the career resurrection of the big hit. So or obviously the Ocean's movies, but at the same time, like, this is Elliott Gould. I mean, he was at one time one of the biggest stars in the world, right? In the 70s, considered a sex symbol, right? I mean, a huge star, Oscar nominated actor, and how he would look at this script,
an Altman favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just don't understand how anybody could look at this script and go like, this is at all going to work in any way, shape, or form. And maybe it was just a matter of he saw the pedigree. He knew this guy had been around for a long time. Maybe they were even friends, wanted to do him a favor, right? But I mean, I will say this. I don't think Elliott Gould was phoning it in, like that. I mean, I think that this movie is absolute, like a flaming car crash dumpster fire of a movie. Like, this is just, I mean, absolutely nonsense. But at the same time, like, at least Elliott Gould's doing something.
What that is, it's certainly not a zombie.
Right.
It's kind of like a Herman Munster.
Totally. Yeah.
Very
in a
Herman
way.
Munster.
Yeah.
It's where I felt like he found that from, because it's so polarizing. 3/4 of the way through, when the gangs zombified,
right?
They actually played. They have seen a zombie movie.
Absolutely.
I don't think Elliott Gould has seen a zombie movie. I really doubt that the director said, "All right, you have to go and watch Night of the Living Dead. You have to go see or Dawn of the Dead or whatever." Yeah. I mean, any kind of reference to play a zombie. He probably, if anything, told him that, well, zombies are just mindless, dead, living, animated, dead people. Because he played the mindless perfectly.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, he did.
But he went to the goofy side of mindless, of like, kind of like childish and
immediately goofy.
Immediately, well, all the way
as
through.
he woke up, he was immediately goofy,
right?
With his smiles and his laughs and
And I almost wondered what he was playing, because what it seemed like, because there's the whole thing, right? That I mean, I guess like just her, she's the basically the cleaning lady.
Oh, the
voodoo queen. She, which I do want to say, that's Mabel King, which many will know her for. She's like, as you brought up,
What's Happening.
She's in What's Happening. She's also in The Wiz. She's mother in The Jerk, and she's also in Scrooge, where she plays grandma, which is actually, because I love Scrooge, that's where I immediately actually recognized her from. But I think the idea, right, is that she animates these zombies. Elliott Gould's character gets killed, and basically she brings him back to life because she really likes him. And I think the idea is that he's mimicking her, right? Which we know that because like she says things and he says it. But I think in terms of his character, he's kind of imitating her all the time. And I think that's like where a lot of his affectations come from as a character, is that he's basically playing her, which I don't even know necessarily if the lore of the film really supports that, because like none of the other guys are acting like her. I just think that in Elliott Gould's interpretation, that's what it was. Like, oh, she animated me, so I'm basically like a zombie version of her, which is why he's walking around and doing this all the time.
Well, he went through the whole process with her. Like she saved him as soon as he died, brought him back to life, and told him, "You're my zombie.
Right.
You're gonna do as I tell you to. You're even gonna give me your apartment, or your penthouse, wherever you live." Which sadly, the budgetary restraints on this movie meant we never saw the apartment of which Elliott Gould lived in.
Right.
But so maybe that's if you want to really break down the lore of this movie. Maybe that's where the other zombies fail. She didn't spend as much time crafting them or placing them under.
That's
her
extremely
control.
charitable of you, Sean. You're being very charitable.
You're the one who dropped the word lore like
We're building a universe.
No one used lore in the
I did
creating of this movie.
Incant that.
No, Elliott Gould. Just go back to him for a second. I think Elliott Gould is just playing Elliott Gould being silly.
Right.
This whole movie, and I think this being a first-time director, first of 2 movies, he's probably was just over the moon that he even had Elliott Gould and was just like, do whatever you want to do that you think is funny. We'll make it work. We'll fit it in somehow.
Yeah. Because he was like Joshua said, he was making a screwball comedy,
right?
So I mean, obviously,
screwball.
apparently with the score that was very Charles Band 1990s.
Oh yeah,
everything was there was nothing orchestral. It was all just on like the KS1 or whatever was a popular. The orchestra sounds and everything.
It reminded me of like
it's the score that Love on a Leash should have had.
Right.
Right.
It reminded me of Jurassic Park when they're going through the thing. He's like, "Oh, this is just temporary score. Lots of big drums and everything."
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that, but worse. But like way worse. And yeah, totally. And I guess like there are some really interesting. I think there are things in this movie that are way funnier if you talk about them than if you're watching the movie, like the fact that what's her character name? I'll look it up real quick. She play Chafuka. Chafuka is her name, and Chafuka just has like in this news organization just like a secret voodoo lair, where she immediately takes Elliott Gould's character to when he dies, and just like goes in there. It's like candles already lit,
and it's behind lockers.
Right, it's behind lockers,
just like in Voyage of the Rock Aliens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which what does it mean? But so like, and I just love the idea that she's just got this voodoo lair there, and she brings it back to life there. She prays to Damballa, who is the same that Charles Lee Ray prays to in Child's Play. So like it's specific. So it's got to be a real problem like Santeria or voodoo or something.
So it's kind of what's been more popular today is like the Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
Has been
Yeah, for sure. So I've got to assume Damballa is like a real thing. In voodoo or whatever.
Well, we should have just watched Serpent and the Rainbow. We probably would have been much happier.
Yeah, totally. I know.
Yeah.
But
less funny.
We can't go down that road. We have to trail
side by side.
We have to trailblaze.
Sync it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Superimpose the two on top of each other.
Did Serpent and the Rainbow come out after this or before this?
Oh, it was like around the same time. Was it? I think Serpent and the Rainbow is like, isn't it late 80s?
I think it was late 80s.
Yeah, I think it's late 80s because I think it was before People Under the Stairs, which was early 90s.
Yeah. Was there like a voodoo theme like happening in cinema during that time or anything?
88, by the way. Yeah.
For Serpent?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, remember
the Believers?
Yeah, the Believers.
Okay.
Yeah,
was a
totally.
big one.
Yeah, definitely.
That
Even
was
like Candyman,
87.
Sure.
has aspects of that. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think voodoo is like definitely a hot button thing, which is maybe one of the reasons this film got greenlit in the first place.
One of those kind of themes that comes and goes. In cinema.
Yeah.
Like there's like 3 or 4.
What was the one with Mickey Rourke?
Angel Heart?
Oh,
Angel
yeah,
Heart,
Angel Heart. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
also right around the same time
Yeah.
period. Yeah, so
Definitely.
much better movie.
Yeah, definitely. So, and I guess the idea is that they work at a news station. And he's an anchor. He's like the nightly news anchor. He gets killed. She brings him back. What's her name? Dufuka.
Dufuka?
Yeah, exactly.
Dufuka.
What Dufuka?
Translates roughly in African to racial stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So she brings him back to life, which I do have to say is, I think that was like one of the best scenes in the movie. I really think she brings the fire. She's always in everything she's in. She's a very lively actress. But I just think that she basically breaks into song, and she's like, voodoo, voodoo, just like crazy.
And I think that is one of the things that elevates one actor from the other
Yeah.
is you should always be doing something when the camera is on.
Right.
And she does without making it seem obvious. Like what she does actually adds to the scene. Even when she's walking down the hallway and the stereotypical music is playing in the background to her character. You know, they add like the tribal drums to the same score that's there. But then when she's just walking by, she'll just be like, It's not that she's just walking, but she's actually like in the scene.
Definitely.
You know, there is something that is purposeful to it. As opposed to a lot of the other ones where we kept seeing this goddamn hallway from like two different angles and then different lighting, but it was the same hallway throughout the whole movie. Other characters would come in, and even if they were just running in, but they would walk for a little while. They wouldn't actually be part of the environment, and maybe some of those slow parts were because of that. And maybe the repetition. There are a lot of repetition, especially in dialogue, and especially in the sets.
So much repetition.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
The jokes are repeated.
Yeah.
Well, they did them in fours.
Lot,
You don't do them in fours or fives. You know, it's the rule of threes.
Yeah.
For a
Well, which I
reason.
do think is kind of funny though, because like we just saw, and I, for one of the reasons that this film came up was we discussed in the unboxing.
Yeah, don't say it wrong now.
Yeah, was because of the Dead Don't Die, and that film also does things in fours, which I
Yes.
do think is kind of funny. And it was like. I mean, I even made a joke, like Victor, brought up, because like, I don't know, we'd said a joke on Facebook and he's like, yeah, now say it like a bunch more times. And, because he was saying that as just like, 'cause he didn't really like the movie. And I said like, well, comedy comes in fours, which knowing that it's threes.
Yes.
But in that film, in my opinion, it works.
It was purposeful.
Yeah,
I don't think
absolutely.
it was purposeful here. It's
Right.
said, oh, hey, you know what? We could fit that other thing that we said earlier. Yeah, I think, not to get into this whole diatribe about Dead Don't Die, but every single beat in that movie was completely purposeful for what it was as a zombie movie of its time and everything that came up to that point.
Right.
And it's going to be one of those movies that is going to be rewatchable.
Oh,
it's already going to be a cult movie.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be something that's going to be deconstructed in order to say, oh my gosh, they are, not necessarily making fun of, but they're making reference to this. Like the whole movie, I think, was stitched together in such a way that not necessarily in like subverting your expectations kind of way, but making it so on point that you realize that they're doing what they're
Of course,
doing.
yeah. It's postmodern.
It is post. Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what it is.
It is. It's postmodern. Because and it's like it is commenting on the things they're commenting on zombie films.
Oh, and there's so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much.
But yeah, absolutely. So and I just think that. Yeah, there's like a lot of those jokes that are reused in this film. There's oh yeah, they were dead and they had a face just like this, and then they make like a dumb, stupid face. There's a lot of face making in this movie.
So much face
like
making.
so much, and that's.
But I miss like the noises that I put in, like the boing. They were missing that when they would make the face noise. I mean, just to kind of put the stamp on it.
It was replaced with like every time our co-anchor picked up her camera.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah.
Breaking news. That sound effect.
Yeah, I thought she had
Because she wasn't even like.
She's not broadcast.
She's not broadcast. She's just recording.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's like at first I was like, is she just going live? Don't go live. Wait until you actually see the body. Don't go live. It was like, oh no, she's just recording. And they're just playing that dumb music anyway. So yeah, there's a lot of face making in this, and I don't know, personally that's like, it's something that I rarely find funny. Like maybe very few people can pull it off.
Right.
Totally.
And everything was a first take.
Yeah, and that's something we didn't talk about.
And I counted, I think, 4 boom mics.
Right. Yeah.
In the frame.
So many booms. And it was obviously first takes, not just for the booms, But there was like one line where literally a guy flubs a line. You know, he like transposes some words in there and then like stops himself and resays
rolls
it.
with that a little bit. Though.
Yeah, he
just repeated himself.
Yeah, good for him as an actor. You know that he's like, but at the same time, like that's a first take. That is not a final. You don't just go with that. And again, you can't really blame an actor for something like that. It all goes down to the director. And I don't know. I think a lot of the times, filmmakers are just kind of playing fast and loose, and they're having a good time on set, and they're just going to go with whatever they go with. But I definitely think that, I don't know. That's why it's important you get coverage. You don't just say, okay, we got it, and we move on, because when you're in that editing room, you have nothing to work with. And I really think that's what happened. I
saw a few times where it definitely was, we're editing for what we had.
Yeah.
Someone would walk down the hallway, there'd be a sound off screen, you'd see the person go through the door to follow the sound, and then it would cut to a completely different scene somewhere else, and you knew that was done in the editing, going, oh shit, we didn't show them going into the room specifically.
Right.
Do you think that the boom mics were a result of the video framing?
It could have been, maybe.
Like maybe on the theatrical release it didn't have that because it was...
Well, I don't know. At that,
out.
My theory on booms... I'll go back. Because Jacob's Ladder, when did that come out? 91?
I think it was
1990?
I thought it was 90.
I remember seeing that in the theater, and I went back many times to see that in the theater at the time. So good.
Yes.
I'd rather
by the second or third time that I saw it, boom mics,
really?
all over the place. When it was actually released on home video, those were, they cropped it, or they moved, pan and zoomed in, whatever they had to do to take that out of the frame.
Do you think the boom mics were demons?
Sure.
Were they
demons to some, angels to others?
Say, were they really angels?
Or he was imagining them the whole time, because I don't want to spoil Jacob's Ladder, because it's a really good movie.
It's a really good movie. If you haven't seen Jacob's Ladder,
just wait for that remake that was supposed to come out in February. Anyways, I truly believe once they realize if there's like any flubs, they believe that this is only going to be played in the theater and not continue on to home video. And if it does, maybe somebody will give a crap and actually crop that stuff out or edit that stuff out in whatever way they can, or they just don't give a crap.
I think there was a lot of crap not given in this movie. For sure.
I mean, it's his first movie. I mean, you're going to see booms.
Totally.
I mean, like I said, back in those days, you saw a lot of booms.
Right.
This is a big boom.
I do want to say, just the whole end kind of climax, I thought was actually really good. I think excised from the film, especially as something that has practical effects and stunt work, or I shouldn't say practical effects, just say practical stunts, and it was all done, as you can tell, this is probably not a very big budget movie, and they were like some dangerous stuff they're doing. I mean, granted, stuntmen are supposed to make it look dangerous, but they're there's like a convertible and a limo, and you got people that are going from one window to another. You've got a shot that is like on the ground, and it has like the body kind of go over the camera. You've got people jumping from one vehicle to another vehicle, and also it doesn't hurt that the entire thing is scored to Oingo Boingo's Dead Man's Party.
Right.
And honestly, the movie actually kind of comes alive during that whole moment.
Absolutely.
It's like the director didn't have... This is not a very well-directed movie. Mm-hmm. I mean... It all takes place indoors for the most part, except for that sequence, and the camera's pretty static. Mm-hmm. It doesn't move around a lot.
Well, there's a few interesting angles. There's a couple from up from the stairwell where they're looking down and laughing.
And I really liked the
lighting, some of the lighting in the hallways.
In the voodoo closet behind the locker room.
Yeah.
I mean, that was cool.
But a lot of low angle.
Yeah. There were
it was all
low angles
static.
that didn't need to be low angles too, you know, which is I think a common new director thing. Then as you brought up, Sean, you brought up, you're like, oh, I wish there would have been more, you know, Oingo Boingo in the movie, and I actually agree, right? Because yes, the film came alive, but also like that's a damn good song, and I think if you put Oingo Boingo on most things, it's gonna be better.
They could have looped it the entire movie, and I would have been totally happy.
Or at least played it 4 times, everything else.
There you go.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that whole end sequence, I think I really did enjoy that. And there was also a scene right before that when they're in the convertible and she loads it up with all of the zombies and she keeps trying to pull out and they keep on like falling out and everything because they're zombies and
it's convertible.
It's a convertible, and I thought that was like really, really funny as well.
The gag, the dumb dad joke gag that did get me was when she instructs those zombies to hop into the car, and they actually like hop into it as opposed to try to get into it.
Or like those hopping vampires.
Totally. So I think that, you know, I mean, is this, I don't know, like this is where I kind of like, I don't know where I would rank this against something like a Love on a Leash, you know, like, because like Love on a Leash, and I brought this up when we were watching it, like, you know, say what you want about Love on a Leash, at least there was no exposed booms, you know, like there was no flubbed lines, and that's like something but at the same time, like I think Love on a Leash had way more jokes that were just terrible, fell flat. This was like a lot of annoying slapstick comedy, which I just find annoying in general. You know, like it's something like a slapstick of another kind. Just like what are you doing? What are you doing?
I have that on Laserdisc.
Oh, I bet you do. Oh, yeah. Oh,
I still haven't dived into that.
Can we not do that movie? Oh man, unless we do a random one sometimes, then we get it. We have to do it. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I won't be probably watching Dead Men Don't Die again anytime soon. But I do believe I probably would watch it again before Love on a Leash.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. And I think because of, you know, yes, there are more messy parts of this film, which I think is crazy to say anything is like, you know, Love on a Leash is better than anything in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, like, Love on a Leash doesn't have Mabel in it, you know? Right. Like, it doesn't have, you know, even any redeemable portions to it whatsoever. Maybe it's not as technically a mess as this is. This is a technical mess. Like, it really is. There are really bad cuts. There are really bad camera angles in a lot of the film. There are just like some real bad jokes, and just like the worst kind of jokes where they say a joke and it's like they're pausing for a laugh that's not ever gonna come.
So I needed a laugh track.
Yeah, exactly. And it's actually, I actually thought to myself a lot. It's like this is like a laugh track thing with no laugh track, like because they even have like the cadence of that kind of thing, and it's almost like that
like they're pausing for the audience.
Well, he's a writer director as well, right? And so like as somebody who has been a writer for decades and decades and is now directing his own movie, I mean, it seems like a possibility that he's going to do that he's going to say, oh, this is a funny thing, I'm going to give some space for the audience to laugh.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
You know, and I just like, no.
A little bit too much space there, buddy.
A little
bit too much.
Absolutely.
There's really not a whole lot to say about this movie.
No, there's not.
All. I mean, there's better examples of kind of the same genre, or they're you know, during the same time period. The font on the front really looks what is that Spike Lee movie? It looks like the Spike Lee.
It looks like Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing.
Yeah. It looks a lot like that.
Which came out a year or two before this, right? I mean, that was late 80s.
Yeah, Do the Right Thing was 89.
89?
I think it was 89.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're riding that.
Yeah, it is. It's the 30th anniversary this year. Yeah, totally.
I would suggest not seeing this movie and watch Dead Heat instead.
Ooh, nice.
I would suggest if you can somehow just watch that climax sequence set to Dead Man's Party, I would watch that. I would definitely put that in. This is another film that I think if you could just watch the good parts of it. Watch the good
The
clips.
sizzle reel.
Yeah, watch the whole. I would say the scene where like the Fuki or whatever her name is like raising Elliott Gould that first time, and she's just like voodoo, 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 voodoo. Just like this ridiculous voodoo song that she's like, I think, just making up on the spot. And I would say the electric dance.
Godsmack covered that years later, didn't they? Was it Godsmack?
Dead men don't die. Oh, it's coming back again. But okay, so the other sequence is the electric dance, where
that was great.
One of the guys, like the bad, he's like the main baddie dude. Shock dance. That's it. Shock dance. Yeah. So one of the main baddies, like, basically is like being attacked by the other two zombies, and they don't eat his brains, but they basically, through some slapstick hijinks, he ends up electrocuting himself, and he's like electrocuting himself like for a long time, like as the what is it called, like rotoscoping or something, where they like drew the electricity on there. I can't remember. It's not rotoscoping, but whatever. Like,
just animated.
Yeah, exactly. Just like animation. And then like the song comes in that's like the shock dance, and then like they're like moving around with him because they're imitating him. Yeah, exactly. It's like shock dance, and so I watch that scene if you can, and the whole climax. And then I'd say you're good. Like, you don't need to watch this entire film. You
don't need an Elliott Gould supercut or anything.
I'll take the Elliott Gould first time that he goes on screen as the zombie, like on the
Elliott Gould in a moo as well is pretty good.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right, because there's the whole thing where, because she is she's having to essentially she's having to say the lines because he's like a mindless zombie, and she's basically reading to a voodoo doll, and then that voodoo doll, like, the things she's saying is coming out, right? And so it's him doing the news like in her accent, but she keeps on messing up and like dropping the paper and like reading the other person's lines,
which is very much like the Anchorman thing, where he will only read what's on the teleprompter.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely got like a couple of weird like
but
Anchorman
they took it
vibes.
they didn't really take it deep enough. They just kept saying the same type of response.
Agreed.
Joke,
and they had like the
time.
insufferable people in the control room. They were just like, "Oh, why are you saying it?" And it's like, "Oh God!" It's just like it was so painful.
A repeat.
I was half expecting like a little battle of the sexes thing to go on between Gould's character, and the gal. I forget her name, but
Christina Applegate.
It was not Christina Applegate. It was Pawn Shop Christina Applegate with a $3,000 nose.
Right. I didn't have a nose.
Yeah, I think that if there was more of a beginning to this movie, they might have established that a little bit better. But since they so quickly got Elliott Gould into zombie
well, that's what
mode,
I thought. Like, maybe there would be some stakes to this. Like, both of them thought like they would be losing their jobs. Everybody's gunning for their positions, but they already pretty much top dogs in what they were doing, other than worldwide news was trying to make themselves be, the best of the news organizations and whatever. But like the executive just thought they were the shit and just loved them, and he's like, you're great. So it's not as though they were seeking out to be, I got to find like the top story. I know that would be a motivation regardless, but maybe give us feel like there's some sort of stakes involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're very little stakes.
It doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
Because why would you zombify Elliott Gould and then put him back in the seat? If there weren't stakes, or something that even like motivated the zombie. Like if she said, "Hey, we're gonna go and run off to the islands together, and you're gonna be my slave," and he's like, "News," and then there was some resistance there where he felt compelled to still be in that position.
That would be a better written script for sure.
Yeah, that would definitely be better written script.
Well, a lot of things would have been. I mean, but. Yeah, is what it is.
I did like the joke. First of all, we didn't talk about the detective character.
Oh,
much.
yeah.
I just want to say,
I really don't want
very
to.
insufferable character.
He was awful.
But he did have what I thought was, again, it's a cheesy joke, but I thought one of the best delivered jokes, because he's portrayed as an idiot throughout the entire thing, and he is.
Well, incompetent. Too.
Incompetent. Yeah. But there's a point where he talks to the co-anchor and said, well, who would want to kill Elliott Gould? And he's like, who's his enemy? And she's like, well, I'm the only one. He's like, well, you're not a suspect then.
Did Barry Barron have any enemies?
Me. We were competitive.
Well, that rules you out as a suspect.
I'm like, that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
And and again, it was a joke that happened once.
Right.
And it wasn't repeated ad nauseum.
That's true. Also, I think that the other detective guy, I think that whole plot line was just so weird and convoluted. There's like some other detective who
doesn't
is
need
like
to be in the movie at all.
It's his partner, and
it was the lieutenant.
Okay, yeah, it says his lieutenant, and he hates how incompetent he is, and basically the only reason he has his job is because his dad is somebody important. But then like the whole movie, he's just like he's calling him, and it's like setups for terrible jokes, like, oh, send in the coroner because there's a body. Oh no, the body's not here, and it's that kind of joke. But just the guy on the other, I just couldn't stand him. Like,
and they
he was
do
so annoying.
nothing with it. It's not like they don't even have the decency or maybe the budget to. That joke would have hit a little bit harder for me if he actually did make those phone calls.
Right.
And you'd see like maybe like an ambulance like start driving away.
Totally, and then have to like turn around.
Then, you know, when he called back and say the body's gone, it went back.
Absolutely.
It would be a dumb joke still, but I mean there would be at least a payoff to the dumb joke.
Right.
And make it a little more broad.
Right.
Well, you did hear the sound effects. There were times where you heard the sirens coming to the building. And then when he was saying, oh, never mind.
I must have missed that. Yeah.
Well, it was few and far in between, and it was kind of buried, mixed in the mix. But, either that or Anne was sitting next to me and making those noises or something.
I mean, that's probably more entertaining.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about this movie anymore.
I don't either.
We've done our diligence.
I hope Elliott Gould got a lot of cocaine out of this movie.
Yeah, that might be it.
Oh my God, that was all like
it.
real cocaine.
Maybe he was paid in the cocaine that was on the set.
Is he still alive?
Yeah,
right?
he's alive.
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, he was just in.
Mabel isn't.
Yeah,
Mabel, I know, died a while ago.
That's a bummer.
Yeah,
because she was probably the best thing about this movie.
Yeah, she was definitely that and Oingo Boingo. But you know, Oingo Boingo is the best part of everything there.
And Oingo Boingo didn't have to show up. They just said,
Yeah.
we'll sign the release on this.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe that's when they were spreading out the whole thing with what was it, Back to School? That was the other.
Yeah, I mean, this was a few years after Back to School.
Yeah,
but yeah, definitely.
So that was Dead Men Don't Die. Don't watch it.
If you're an Elliott Gould completist,
brought to you by Kleenex.
Yeah, exactly. Brought to you by Kleenex. Yeah, I would say if you're an Elliott Gould completist, you still don't really need to see this movie. But if you're an Oingo Boingo completist, like you kind of have to.
If you're an Elliott Gould completist, please write us.
Yeah, please do. Please do. What's our email?
Cultfollowing.co.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of other stuff that's out there. Go to cultfollowing.co.
Comment on the YouTube video on youtube.com.
Yeah, I mean, like, subscribe, smash that notification bell or whatever people do.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, guys.
Okay, all right. I am Von Rutkowski.
Aha.
I am Joshua T. Ruth.
And I'm Kyle McLoughlin, and that was a damn fine show.
Yes. All right, bye, guys.